Ooh, yeah.
Well, it's another wonderful day in the Wasteland.
It sure is.
I got this title on my head here. There we go. Hey, oh.
There we are.
Well, welcome, everybody. Greg the Ghoul here with Harris, my humanoid sidekick. We're former vault dweller and survivor, soul survivor here today. Welcome to the Radical Wasteland podcast here with Trek. This is where we talk about Fallout and all things Fallout, and we can occasionally touch on some other stuff. MJ, I see you're asking about Stargate in the chat. I'm giving you a little hard time there, but it is all good. Harris, do you know anything about Stargate right now? What's going on with that?
No, I guess huge updates. I guess we technically do have some updates, so keep your eyes out for a video or two. Trek Daily from Jamie should be out shortly. We might actually hold it off for a day or two because we have the Star Wars trilogy and the Mass Effect series to talk about, so maybe keep an eye on Monday or Tuesday for that, but soon, very soon, MJ.
Absolutely. And we got that interview dropping soon, right?
And right after this podcast at 11:15, I might push it back a little bit just so we don't have to be so time constrained, But 11:15 to 11:30 range, Pacific Standard Time, AM, of course. We will be dropping the Colin Cunningham interview, which I did, and Greg has some great questions in the end. So does Chazz, so does Jamie, so does Sarah. It's great. It's about an hour, 50 minutes, so it's a long one. Oh, but it's great. I had a great time doing it. It's a little spicy at times, so it's fun. It's gonna be fun.
I'm excited. I wasn't able to be there in person, even though it was at my theater. So I'm very excited to.
Thank you again.
Yeah, no, it was our pleasure, man. So glad we got to host that. So glad we got to have you guys there. So, Alex, yeah, settlement building is the freaking worst in Fallout 4, man. It just, that stuff drives me insane. It's great for XP bumps and stuff at certain points, but good God, nothing is such. You get some really cool builds. Like I read the Fallout subreddits on settlement building, but good God, is that the worst sometimes. It's just such a time suck. I love playing New Vegas because you don't have to deal with building that stuff out, and everything's a damn settlement in 4.
Which is cool in its own way, but like you said, it's just a time suck, and you can't actually play the game once you start doing it.
Yeah. And Preston's always like, hey, I've got another settlement that needs your, it's like, hey, I got another settlement. Hey, I got another settlement. Hey, it's like, good God. Anyway, we could go on all day about that, but we actually do have a theme and a topic for today's episode we want to cover here. First off, we're gonna do a little bit of a news rundown real fast. Fallout Season 2, according to rumors on X, starting. It is either has already started shooting or is starting shooting very soon. I think that's fantastic. I have to call my agent and be like, dude, why aren't you getting me over to Automatic Sweat? Like, come on, I got to get over in John Papsadera's office. Let's go.
Yeah. We got to get on it.
I know we do. You know, I'm working on my super mutant body. I've actually been going and lifting and doing the protein and bulking up a little bit lately, trying to fill out a little bit so they don't have to CGI that much. You know what I mean?
There you go. I've just stopped eating as much as I usually do. I'm gonna try to be the wastelander that is wasting away a little bit there. But
I mean, you got that shit on lock. I'll tell you that. You could have been the dude that was sitting there watching movies in the Ghoul Farm at the at that. Yeah.
Oh, I'd have a blast doing that. Of course, I'm not the Stranger Things guy to put in there, but
yeah,
you need season 2. I got you.
I feel you there. Well, and first off, what does this mean? Well, it begs the question: when does season 2 drop? Obviously, and if they start shooting now, or probably January if they haven't started now, since we got the holidays coming up, and that always, Hollywood shuts down around December 15th and doesn't come back to 2 weeks into January. It takes about a month off, because, well, hey, everybody's got families. And when you're working 18 to 20 hours a day for 6 days a week, you like to do some laundry, catch up on some sleep, and see people. So, well, if season 1 was released in 2022, or no, but it started shooting in 2022 and was released in 2024, we might not see season 2 until 2027.
Because there's a hefty post-production process for Fallout as well.
For that show, absolutely, which is a bummer. I really wish that. Oh, I'm sorry, it's feeding time, and my cats are all going ballistic here, so it's all good. No, it's okay, baby. So I could just hear Ginny's and see her on spiking on the on the mic. It's all right.
No, I couldn't even hear her. But howdy, Jen.
Oh, Harris says hi. She says hi. Okay, so yeah, I mean it's a bummer because obviously we want that sexy Fallout content. And it really kind of goes the fact that we could have 3 years between seasons really shows how different the approach is for networks and streaming networks to serialized television in the wake or in the advent of streaming, because you get 7, 8, 10 episodes every 3 years, when it used to be you'd get 23, 24 episodes a year. Yeah. No, I mean, they talk about how this is a golden age of television, but I don't necessarily agree with that. Now, let me tell you, I'm a big Trekkie, and actually this Sunday we're hosting Star Wars versus Star Trek, the debate. Yeah. And I'm moderating. All right. I'm bringing the banhammer for any little Jedis here that think they can pull some mind tricks on me. I'm just saying.
I got this.
But
my
mind to your mind. But I think it's look, not every Star Trek episode was a piece of genius. Not everything could be a balance of terror. Not everything could be sometimes you get a clips episode at the end of season 2 that of Next Generation that is just absolute dog shit, but it's sad to see how few opportunities there are now because of just the lack of episode orders, I mean, and how fast they are to pull the trigger on canceling something. They're talking about how this is a golden age for television, so many new opportunities for actors and for writers and for producers and for career growth. No, dude, that was the 90s, back when it was 23, 24 episodes a year, when, like every episode of a procedural is like 7 to 8 or 7 to 10, sometimes even more co-stars and guest stars where actors could cut their teeth and build a career and actually be a middle-class actor. Now when we've got these streaming networks, they're doing these shorter episode runs, and they don't know if there's ever going to be a second season. Anyway, I'm just despairing about TV right now, but that's not the theme of this episode. That is not the theme of this episode. But I think it does bear mentioning that it's a bummer that we might not get a new season of TV until 2027.
Well, yeah. Just to touch on it really quickly, just to kind of, I guess, cherry on top of the point you made is I don't know if we could be in a golden age. We're in a golden age of TV for maybe the viewer, in a sense where we have anything and everything we want of almost any type of variety, but
sure,
that can be pulled out that rug just as fast as it can be set down.
Yeah, and it's becoming a lot like the film industry, where they care about opening weekend box office. They care about the opening weekend streaming numbers. When they're talking about how Sandman almost didn't get renewed because the weekend the opening streaming numbers for the first weekend weren't high enough, and it's like,
but how many weeks did it stay in the top 10? That's what we should be really focusing on.
Yeah, but nobody's got patience for that shit anymore. It's
not a golden age of TV again until, like you said, actors can make a living off of what they're doing,
and the writers too, and the producers, and the directors too, and the crew. I mean, at least that was constant employment, and I feel like now everybody's just. I mean, from a content perspective, it's great because we're seeing like all the licenses, all the IPs, almost everything that we ever want to see be a TV show is a TV show now, or has had a hack at it. Halo had a whole like multi-season thing, for better or for worse, but people were clamoring for that. There's a lot of great stuff that is getting the opportunity to be seen live that nobody thought could actually happen. But at the same time, it's disposable. It's so quick. They're so quick to get rid of stuff.
It's that spaghetti at the wall, just seeing what sticks.
Yeah, if it doesn't move the needle immediately, then it's not going to stay, and that's a heartbreak. So
Fallout. Give us a little something quicker this time.
100%. Well, but speaking of Fallout giving us something a little quicker, Macaulay Culkin is going to be in season 2. That's some casting that got dropped. They're saying that he's going to be some sort of super genius. Well, the only super genius that I know in New Vegas is Arcade Gannon.
Yes.
So that tells me that he might be one of our favorite mad scientists from the Children of the Atom. And I think that'll be, yeah. I think that's. What do you think about that casting?
I love it. I am a fan of Zachary Levi, the guy that originally voiced him for the game. But
sure,
we know Zachary Levi may or may not have worked himself out of Hollywood a little bit as of recent. Yeah. Whether you like or dislike the guy, he's a great actor nonetheless. He would be a great Arcade Gannon, but if he's not on the table for Hollywood necessarily, I don't know if we can get someone that looks and is as good of an actor to portray someone like Arcade Gannon as Macaulay Culkin. I'm sure there's plenty, but the look is just perfect. I love it. I think it's a great casting if he's Arcade, of course.
Yeah, that's a big if. And the Stanleys, thank you. Yes, Followers of the Apocalypse, not Children of the Atom. I've been reading too much X-Men lately, and that was just what my brain reached for first. So I go reaching for the name, the brain goes, here you go, and then it's like, wrong. So thank you for the correction. Much appreciated. Gig-wise, yeah, he could be a synth, but I feel like that they're saying, no, he's a genius scientist. Maybe he's the dipshit that runs Helios 1.
Oh, that could be good.
Yeah, the guy that tricked the NCR into being like, oh yeah, no, I know how to run this thing, So maybe. I mean, the thing is that with Fallout, there's no shortage of mad scientists, so that's at least a good thing. And
especially New Vegas. New Vegas has them all across, just the little wasteland, the desert, just perfect.
Yeah,
spot across.
I'm still intrigued to see which ending is going to be canon, or if they figure out a way to make either none of them work or all of them work. Somehow, like all of them be valid.
That's going to blow my head, just the way they try to do it. Me wrapping my brain around it is going to be a lot, and it's going to be the same, I guess, for most Fallout people. It seems like it's going to be Mr. House, but I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm going to stake my claim. I'm going to make my bet now. Okay, 10:21 a.m. November 8th, 2024. I'm calling my shot. And last time I called my shot on something, it was where the Red Sox were going to end up in the baseball standings this year. And I was actually 100% correct. All right. Which is a bummer because, man, that's my team. And I said they were going to finish third in the AL East, but it would have been up from last year. And I was right. So I'm calling my shot right now. I think they're going to go with the NCR ending. And the NCR had a happy ending for about a year or two. And then it all went to hell, probably with House not dead, but returning somewhere to cause conflict.
So you think what House is out of New Vegas?
Maybe not out, but underground.
Okay.
I mean, he's locked up in the Lucky 38 the whole time. If the courier doesn't actually like off him during the game, or in that ending, then he's. I mean, they established House as a character in season 1. So I think that they'll do a big reveal at one point of him being, basically hamburger on a platter.
Puppeting, yeah.
Spoilers for a 12-year-old video game, 14-year-old video game at this point, just FYI. But
if you haven't, play it.
Yeah, but some people don't even know that at the end of Titanic, the ship sinks. So, you got to watch out for this stuff. Yeah.
It sinks?
Oh my God, Harris. All right. Cool. So yeah, Macaulay Culkin in season 2. Yeah, I'm thinking Arcade Gannon, but I think now that I think about it, he might be the guy from Helios 1. I can't remember that guy's name all of a sudden. And it's just
Me either, but I like that choice a lot too.
He could also be that, but I feel like Gannon might be like the bigger role, seeing as how he's a companion character. A couple other little things before we really get into it. First off, morning, Happy Trailer Reactor. Good to see you. And somehow House has returned. Yes, 100%. Let's see. First off, I was at my local Ralph's last night, and I actually found, I should have bought this when I was there, but I was in a rush. I found that Ralph's is packing the Jones Nuka-Cola.
Wait, actually?
Yeah, for real. They had it in stock at the Studio City Ralph's.
Well, it's about 15 minutes from me. I might go check.
Yeah, you might have to go check it out. It's in the back on the end of the soda aisle, right by the end cap. So worth checking out. Seriously, glass bottles and everything.
Even if I don't drink it, just put it on the back shelf or something for a little bit.
I will stop off and do that myself later on, because I am going, now that I have my D&D shelf, but this is for when I do my D&D streams. So I do need to assemble my Fallout shelf, so this way I can look like a legit streamer too. But yeah, so Ralph's got the Nuka-Cola. That's dope. Also, your boy Greg the Ghoul was in Good Springs this past week.
Yeah, I guess I haven't actually got to talk to you like face to face ish. Yeah, I guess however online.
I mean, this is close enough. Yeah. So I was in Good Springs. I shouldn't say I was in Good Springs. I stopped in Good Springs for 20 minutes on my way home from Vegas. I had to go to Vegas. So I was in Vegas Sunday night to Monday morning. It was the quickest, saddest turnaround ever, because I got to the hotel about midnight, checked in, went to bed, got up, did my business, and then drove home. And that was the day. So
that is depressing.
Yeah, it's very. And let me tell you, Las Vegas on a Monday morning just looks like a hangover personified. It was rough.
Favorite times to go though.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it was cheap. It was cheap. Stayed at the Sarah for under $100. So hey, but I had to go pick up some equipment that I bought for my theater. And I was on my way home. We was just leaving Vegas in the afternoon, and I'm looking at the freeway signs, and it said Good Springs, exit here, and I was like, oh hell yeah,
immediately.
So yeah, so I drove about 10 minutes off the freeway up to, and the first thing that you see is the Good Springs sign, and then the Pioneer Saloon and the general store. And they were shooting, there was a film crew working in the Pioneer Saloon. So I just went into the general store, and they mostly have like Pioneer Saloon and Good Springs stuff, but they did have some New Vegas merch or some Fallout merch. And everybody there knew Fallout. They were like, oh yeah, we lean into it big time. They had a big poster on the wall behind them saying, well, you got to come back next weekend for New Vegas Days. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And They do an annual celebration in Good Springs called it's a fan event called Fallout New Vegas Days, and the final party of it is called Mojave Mayhem. But if you go to pioneersaloonnv.com, so Pioneer Saloon Nevada, that's the bar. And yeah, they do a Fallout fan celebration, and it's hosted at the Pioneer Saloon in Good Springs. And it's November 16th and 17th. And unfortunately, I'm on the East Coast next weekend, or otherwise I'd be changing my plans and heading back out there to check it out. But they've got a whole ton of stuff happening. Yeah, so that's the bar.
Oh.
I did post pictures of my stay real fast, or my 10-minute visit to Good Springs in the SciTrek Facebook group. So if anybody wants to take a look at that, you can get a quick look at it. But yeah, Fallout fan celebration, the red button right there. If you scroll up just a touch.
Oh.
Yeah, scroll back up.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. Yeah, so November 16th, 17th, there you go.
Oh,
you got your Vault Dweller. And they have a whole schedule of events that involves, karaoke, live music, parties, parties, parties. Literally, the Pioneer Saloon is going to be open all night long. And when I was talking to the guy who was at the store, he's like, "Yeah, we're expecting about 8,000 people."
Oh, good God!
Yeah, yeah. There's the schedule.
Ooh.
So Fallout fans, and this is an annual thing. So Fallout fans, you now have a trip to make every year. Worth checking it out, and that's where it's all going to be. Is the fan? What any event in the desert? I swear to God, they all wind up looking like some sort of variation on Burning Man, even if it's a small one. You know, it's just like
it's the desert.
It's the desert. There's not much other scenery out there. Cool.
It looks so cool.
Yeah. So this is a major fan event held by the town of Good Springs, because, of course, if you don't know, Good Springs, the town, inspired Good Springs in the game, and now Good Springs, the game, is inspiring Good Springs, the town. So it's kind of a fun roundabout here. Yeah. We're going to stick with Fallout content right now. So other stuff can be addressed in other questions can be addressed and brought up in the group or on other streams, but this is strictly Fallout.
Politics later, Happy Trailer Reactor. We're trying to say Happy Trailer Reactor right now.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What'd you think of the Fallout broadcast on Fallout Day back on October 23rd?
I liked it. It was a little bit shorter than I expected. It didn't really move a needle anywhere for me. I guess we talked about doing some stuff for it or hanging out for it for a little bit, but neither one of us were Fallout 76ers. So that's the one Fallout I haven't delved into or know much about technically, but it seemed cool. I mean, I really like where it is now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they heard that Bethesda was hosting a big thing on Fallout Day, they were expecting Fallout 5. Huge. They were expecting some sort of new game, maybe, even if it's another mobile game or something else. I think they were expecting something big because this is the first time they did some sort of big announcement or big event like that. So if you're going to do that, where's the beef? You know?
Yeah.
And I'm bummed that we didn't get something bigger. But I do think I don't play 76 myself. I meant to start playing Fallout London, and I'm just in the middle of another New Vegas playthrough right now, and trying to figure out how soon I need to go down Lonesome Road. That's where I'm at the moment. So I'm a bad Fallout player or the best Fallout player in the sense that you kind of get. I'm kind of just all about sticking in my lane here and just doing another random character build. This time I'm trying to go Vat Sniper, and it's working out pretty well so far, but
that's one of my favorite things to do. Just aim for them.
Yeah, but that said, I think that what they're doing for 76 is great. It's great to see that a 6-year-old MMO is getting new love and new content, and the numbers on it, especially in the wake of the TV series, are apparently much stronger than they used to be. So, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It almost felt like a wasted opportunity a little bit, I would, anytime that back when I worked in corporate America, I worked for a toy company for a while, and I was the marketing guy and the sales guy. Anytime we had some sort of big announcement or big theme day or big thing like that, there was always something huge behind it to move the needle, for lack
give it
of
that gravitas.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just cool, big celebration. I'm glad to see that you guys are fans of your own game, and it's very feel good and very happy, and I'm down for it. But yeah, if you're gonna put together a 3-ring circus, man, you better have some elephants. So yeah, I didn't get to watch it live, but I was disappointed to find out that it's just Fallout 76 stuff. Cool, not a problem. But this stuff wasn't so earth-shattering that I'm like, well, this could have just been a patch notes update, So
it seemed like their regular, okay, we have a new, not DLC, but we have a new, this is our yearly thing for Fallout 76 or Elder Scrolls Online or whatever. It just seemed like it could have just fit in at any point of any time in the year.
It was what's all the hoopla for, unless So I mean, but hey, you know what? If they're setting this up and establishing this as something as a vehicle to make bigger announcements later on, so much the better. So hey,
Hopefully.
like so and let me also say it's easy for us to sit here and critique and just be like, oh my god, where's where's my Fallout 5? I mean, I recognize the fact that AAA titles take years and years to build, and they're doing Elder Scrolls next. They're doing another Elder Scrolls before they do Fallout 5. So we might not see this game for another 10 years. But one of the things they are going to keep doing is doing upgrades and remakes and stuff like that. So these popular games with this infinite replayability can continue to be played on the current cutting edge platforms. And also segueing, 25 minutes later, segueing into the actual meat of the episode. Speaking of where's the beef, tying it all together. Games that can be modded, and get their life and their infinite replayability or their replayability like extended a lot because of the customizations that can be added. I know we've talked about Fallout London on here. Let's talk about, Harris, what are some of your favorite video game mods?
Well,
yeah, let me just catch you on the cold open here with this, like kapow, Surprise.
I started laughing because the first one that comes to mind, which is, I don't think it was the first one I ever downloaded, but Skyrim, when I finally got it for my, I think I played into Todd Howard's hand and bought Skyrim in every single way I could for a few years there. And I bought it on my computer as well as my Xbox and yada, yada, yada. And one of the first things I did on my computer was download a mod where a shout was a shout that I could turn anything or everything that I shouted at into cheese. And that might have been one of my favorite things ever because there's just cheese wheels everywhere.
That's fun. That's
silly, stupid, and just fun.
I love that. First mod I ever really messed with was a John McClane skin for Quake.
Oh, that's...
That turned your guy into John McClane and had sound effects from the movie. Unlimited Jetpack. That's another good one. Which game was that?
Yeah. That you just made me think of Die Hard Christmas real quick. I'm like,
oh yeah, oh no, and
we're
ongoing for that right now. Tickets are on sale, and it'll be opening December 12th. So if anybody wants to come out and see the original Die Hard musical parody, grab your tickets now.
I'll be there, so come say howdy, y'all. We'll do a little sidetrack meet and greet.
Absolutely. Oh yes, the Fallout 4 Unlimited Jetpack mod. Absolutely. Because I think GTA also has that as well. GTA 5, because I know that they do jetpacking in there. But yeah, modding, obviously there are tons and tons and tons of Fallout mods. Some of them are as simple as bug fixes and little cleanups to make sure your game doesn't crash as much. But some of them are full overlays like Fallout London, or let's talk about Fallout Nueva Mexico for a moment. Do you have the trailer queued up by chance?
I do not, but I can get that very quickly.
All good. You know what? Let's just link that in the chat then. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah. Bit behind on games. I do have a PS5 now, and that's how I found out about Fallout 4. Nice. Well, welcome to the Vault Dweller. So glad. Oh yeah, no, and that's the thing is that these games, I mean, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, these games have are still such a big part of the video game zeitgeist because of, well, first off, how expansive they are, and I keep seeing videos all the time of new content discovered. In a 10-year-old video game, all the secrets being discovered, but also coming out in it came out in 2015. Modding, people are adding new content all the time since it's all fan created content. Level 130.
I just saw that. I was like, damn.
Wow, that's yeah. You've been playing a minute. That's awesome. So, I actually did a little bit of a deep dive into the history of computer game modding last night, and I've got some highlights I want to share real quick because I know we're kind of starting to run up on the clock. But first and foremost, we've got Fallout Nueva Mexico coming, which is another big overlay like Fallout London. They're both running on the Fallout 4 engine. And Nueva Mexico, they released a trailer, but there's no release date. And knowing how long it took Fallout London to be released from after the trailer dropped, it's going to be years probably. It's going to be a very long time. But it does look really cool, and I love this continuing trend of exploring what happened to the rest of the world after the Great War. I love
So
that.
smart.
I love that the fans are the ones who are driving the storytelling here. So when it breaks the game, and I agree with you. And yeah, and if you're paying for mods, that's not mods, that's DLC at that point.
Yeah.
But the amount of work and effort it takes to make a mod, I almost feel like that there should be like a Ko-fi or something like that, or a Patreon or something to support some of these people, because Fallout 13, no, pardon me, Vault 13, the mod that was going to be a beat for beat remake of the original Fallout using the Fallout 4 engine, unfortunately has been canceled because the team behind it, it was a passion project for them, and life just took too many turns, and they just don't have the time and energy to dedicate to finishing it. I mean, this is an incredible effort that you have to undergo in order to make this happen. And it seems like that they managed to finish the vault, the area around the vault, and some of Shady Sands. They get all that stuff done, but now they're like, well, we can't finish it. So what they're doing is uploading all the project files and making them publicly available, so maybe somebody else can pick up the torch and run with it. So on the one hand, I'm like, yeah, mods should be free, but also when you're doing like these gigantic company-sized, business-sized mods, that are like DLC game overlays, massive efforts. If we want to get this, support this kind of stuff, if you start getting into like, I'm charging for this, then it's like, okay, well, then you got a license from Bethesda and you got to do some other stuff. But if you can find a way to support the artist, maybe through a third-party platform or whatever, and like, here's a
lot
tip.
of them have those Patreons, and that's perfect.
Yeah. So I think, I see this. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. So it's a bummer to see Fallout Vault 13 go down, but hopefully somebody may pick up the torch and finish it. I mean, these are Herculean efforts. So the idea that, I've also heard about Miami and Chicago and some of these other big, massive DLC-sized overlays or expansions, and it's funny. I see lots and lots of like big aspirational things, and a lot of them are dead. Like you see the trailer, you get the website launched and everything else is going. And then, at one point development just stopped. And I get it, because life happens. So, if nothing else, it gives me more respect for what the London team accomplished.
And was able to to trudge through to get there too.
Yeah. And that took years and years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well,
but let me touch on this real quick. What do you think was the first video game that ever got modded? Take a guess.
Oh, I feel like I know this too. I know you mentioned Wolfenstein earlier, but I don't think that's the first one.
It's a little bit of debate. People talk about how they used to use hex editors to modify old RPG games, go in and like change the character stats and stuff like that. Like they would go in and use hex code editors to basically max out their character stats in like the old D&D games. But it's kind of a toss-up. I keep seeing that Castle Wolfenstein, not Wolfenstein 3D, the original Castle Wolfenstein, which was released in 1981 on the Commodore 64.
Wolfenstein goes back that far?
Oh yeah. No, it was. Castle Wolfenstein is as old as me. And Wolfenstein 3D was in the early 90s, which was a revolution in its own right. But the original Castle Wolfenstein was also the first, by ID Software, and we're going to come back to this, was the first video game to be modded when in 1983, a version of the game dropped called Castle Smurfenstein, where they turned all the Nazis into Smurfs. And you went around shooting Smurfs on. Yeah, no, I know. Castle Smurfenstein. Look it up. A lot of people also say that Lode Runner was another game that was that was modded frequently, and new maps were added to it, new patterns were added to it. Leisure Suit Larry's classic, Pac-Man. I don't know how you'd mod Pac-Man unless you were just like, oh, all the ghosts are running in fear all the time, But that'd be fun.
I was going to say Pac-Man or Galaga or something like that, just because I know somebody can get on the back and fiddle with whatever, but also it's not like that's truly a mod because you can't download it and put it into it. That'd be actually like physically getting behind a machine and changing the intricacies of like the game.
Absolutely. Well, it's fun to see that, you know, modding goes back to the 80s, and it makes sense because hacker culture was big. You know, and this was before the internet. This was DARPANET, you know, was available at the time, and dial-up BBSs and stuff like that. And this is like really back alley trading for stuff. And I love the fact that it started then. Now, naturally, with the advent of the internet, that exploded modding as a culture and a community. Doom was also by ID Software, was the biggest of or was the first game to actually have like a modding community built around it.
Okay, I think Doom is what I was trying to come up with.
Yeah, Doom definitely had a giant modding community that formed around it, because that was, you know, that was when the internet really started becoming more publicly available and people could actually start trading files and everything, trading skins, and, you know, have a place to showcase their work.
Everyone loved Doom 2.
What was that?
Everyone loved Doom 2.
Oh, yeah.
Doom 2 as well, but Doom 2.
Yes. Oh, Trade Wars on a BBS back in the days of screaming fast 2400 baud internet. Oh, God, yeah, brings me back, man. Brings me back. So I'm slightly younger. I had a 14.4 in my 386 Pentium 386 back in the early 90s when I got my first computer. So and would dial into America Online. So yeah. So Doom was the first game to have a large modding community.
Okay.
When Quake came out, it absolutely exploded. And like they modders got all in on it. And it's funny because modders, the modding community was actually responsible for a lot of gaming innovation. They created the Team Fortress model. They created the Capture the Flag model for Quake. They did. And those modes were later integrated into being standard, but they started out as fan mods.
Oh, I didn't realize that. You said the Capture the Flag, and I remember Quake being like kind of the first people to do that, but I didn't realize
that it was the modders that developed it, and then Quake 2, Quake 3, they integrated in as part of standard play.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because the modding community, you'd think that there would be some sort of adversarial relationship here, you know, being like, how dare you hack my shit? Well, it turns out that, you know, people who like to program video games for a living can also be fans of it at home and doing their own passion projects. But also just programmers in general just love to flex their skills. And there was a level of professional respect, like for the IPs and for the companies that made this stuff. I mean, ID was like, yes, you can mod our shit. Go for it. Here's the rules. It can't be the free demo version. It has to be the full licensed game that has to have that has to be purchased. You can't. None of your mods can work on the demo that's put out. And people were like, great. And then the other. Then the community stepped up and went so far as to be like, oh, it actually has to be registered. It can't just be like cracked software. Like mods won't work on cracked software. Cool. You know, okay, so it's like it has to be registered. So the community stepped up and self-policed, and you know, modding games became a way to build a portfolio, and a lot of modders actually wound up getting hired at companies to run stuff and create the games as professional creators. Yeah, and on top of that, to enable this, because of the fact that the community wasn't being a bunch of toxic shitheels and acting like, hey, you know, you set the boundaries, we're going to respect them, and then we're going to go crazy and you're going to let us go crazy. Game companies started releasing modding suites and tools to help people. You see that, I mean, Bethesda's a big one, but Neverwinter Nights, BioWare. BioWare is all about it. And another one, who's the company that makes The Sims? I forget. EA. It's an yeah. But they before The Sims came out, they released The Sims modding pack before the game even came out, because it meant that first off, you got early access to check it out and play with it. But when the game launched, there was already a ton of user and fan generated content to use. It wasn't a ghost town. It was there available day one.
That's smart.
Super smart. Super smart. And that is a healthy ecology between between creator and fan base, which I love. I love seeing this. I mentioned that I had my John McClane skin for Quake. On my computer, though, unfortunately, the files were so big and so bloated that it crashed the second I tried to use it. It was such a bummer. Like my frame rates completely dropped and I got blown to hell. And I was just like, okay, cool. So I wound up uninstalling. Let me see. And there's all kinds of mod repositories. If you don't know any better, go to Nexus Mods if you want to have mods for Fallout stuff. And you'd think that mods are a PC exclusive thing, but now they're actually starting in 2007. They came to PS3 back when the PlayStation had a hard drive and an OS that you could use to access things like USB drives and stuff. People were modding games on PlayStation, on console, which was until then unheard of.
Yeah, Xbox One and Xbox Series X are like encourage you to mod a lot of times in games, which is fun. I'm glad they do now. Yeah.
And then, and modding doesn't just mean bug fixes, new levels, new skins, new assets, new content. Some versions of mods, there are those who argue that machinima are that kind of content is modding as well, like Red versus Blue, which, is the Halo, using the Halo engine and game assets to write a comedy series. Like that's crazy.
And not being shabby either.
Nah, not shabby either. No, Red versus Blue was one of my favorite series in college. So showing my age here.
What's the company that made that? It's not Rooster Chicken or whatever, but what's it called?
Rooster Teeth. Yeah, Rooster Teeth.
Rooster Teeth, that's it. There we go.
Yep.
Rooster Chicken.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm trying to say.
So
okay.
fellow YouTubers, denizens of the YouTubes, shout out to Rooster Teeth. So I mean, I think that modding extends the shelf life of games for so long, and Bethesda really kind of hit the special sauce here by having a game that is so sprawling, so deep, having tons of lore around it. They honored the lore that came before and they built on it with each new iteration, and they make engrossing stories. And now with 76, they have a place where they can just keep adding content and keep adding content, and expanding it. But then also with the modding tools and the modding community built around it, where fans and users can generate their own content. This is the reason why people keep going back to these games, and why Fallout 4, even though it was released in 2015, is still one of the best-selling video games of all time. And same with Elder Scrolls. I mean, my God, at this rate, they don't ever need to do a new. I mean, people want it, but they don't ever have to do a new Elder Scrolls game, because people can just keep expanding on what's already there. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, but one thing that Bethesda's particularly done well, I think, just that ties into all this is, and there are a group of people that are not very happy about Bethesda doing all the Creation Club kind of stuff, but realistically, I think it does work. It shows their able and willingness to work alongside modders. And the anniversary edition for both Fallout, I think earlier this year, right? And then anniversary edition, especially for Skyrim, that's essentially adding old mods into the game, canonizing them, and letting them be used as DLCs, which is beautiful, like a badass,
Yeah.
It's kind of what we want to continue to have happening. So, come on.
It feels like part of that healthy ecology to me, So, yeah, I don't know. It's so fascinating. Like I've played mods, and I've always just assumed that they were part of this. I didn't realize until I started digging the long and robust history that it had. I thought it started with Doom, because that was the first game I remember being modded. And when I was playing Doom in high school, I was blown away at all the different things you could do with it. But then you also look at Grand Theft Auto, and all the crazy stuff people did with that. I did the infinite life glitches and the other hacks and things, but then the first time I downloaded a chicken gun, a gun that shoots chickens, I was like, this is so strange and so weird, but it really kind of gives you just like the tip of the iceberg about what you could do with all this stuff.
Cheese shouts, chicken guns. Give me more. I'm ready.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So chat, what are some of your favorite game mods? I want to let's shout them out. Let's see what we got. And hello, Peter. Welcome. Glad to have you today.
Also, my frantic looking around is I totally realized, because I saw old Skyrim mods that I downloaded, or had like the order that I needed to download them onto, I guess, my console for Anniversary Edition to still work. Somewhere in here, I literally put them under something this week. I don't know where they are in here. And it's just the perfect thing for this as well. But it had all kinds of stuff. It wasn't like the cheese shout mod or anything. My favorite mod, I think, that I've actually used that was functional, like what you were talking about earlier, was probably for Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty fresh, I think, because I downloaded all the new content or whatever that they released at the beginning of the year, and I never played the Nuka-Cola.
Really?
DLC
Nuka World?
Yeah, Nuka World. There we go.
Yeah.
And I love Nuka World. It's one of my favorite bits of Fallout maybe ever now.
Yeah. Which Raider gang did you join?
It's the dog pack, the really brutal ones. I can't remember what they're called, and then the other ones that are more like just your mercenaries, your economist. Really, I chose the economist. I can't remember what the operators. That's what they are. The operators.
You chose the operators.
Oh,
you.
It's the libertarian in me. I was like, screw it. Y'all aren't so violent and crazy. Y'all are just economics, whether you morality or not. At least it's the economics that drives you. I was like, I can at least understand that in the apocalypse. So that's what I chose. But I love it. The modding community for that, particularly because once I started playing that, I was super excited. I was like, this is some of the most fun stuff I've ever done. But then you go back into the actual mainland, the Commonwealth of Fallout 4.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody likes you anymore. You're no longer the savior.
Why does Preston suddenly want to shoot me?
You know? I one of my favorite mods I think I've ever downloaded was earlier this year to try to... I think the goal of the mod was to make it where that doesn't break the game when you go back into the Commonwealth. It's like, okay, you might be a raider, but now you can kind of play politics with the land and with the settlements that you take over or don't take over. You can have allies with Preston Garvey or not. You can have allies with other settlements or not. That I enjoyed a lot because it added a little element to both Nuka World and the main game that just was missing originally. And it's the perfect thing.
Yeah. So I've seen a couple of mods shouted out here. Project Nevada for Fallout New Vegas. Let's see.
Peter?
More interesting, more challenging, and more fun experience. Not an overhaul. It's organized as a set of theme mods. Each module can address different aspects of the game and target different audiences, but also designed to work in conjunction. All right. So, dynamic crosshair, bullet time, sprint, grenade, hotkey, variable zoom, slower. Okay, so mostly quality of life improvements. I mean, that's totally valid. And I could see how this would be really great for improving the game experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. And that is great use for modding right there. Yeah. What anybody else? What are some of your I'm excited to see some of these big remake games like people are currently remaking New Vegas in the Fallout 4 engine or remaking Fallout 3 in the 4 engine. It would be fun to see these games with that level of tech, just as long as you don't have to go build any goddamn settlements.
Which is one of the best parts about Fallout Nueva Mexico is that it's using the Fallout New Vegas engine and not
so no settlement. Yeah, big fan.
Love a settlement here and there, but here and there, not everywhere.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Think about that for half a second. We mentioned it earlier because I'm the wasting away Wastelander trying to get skinny again, and you're bulking up like the good old bull does.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool because I was looking at it earlier. I didn't realize Nueva Mexico has two different playable characters, one being a ghoul and one being a person.
Yeah, I heard about that. I think that's fun where you actually get to play a ghoul. You know, I know that in the original in Fallout 2 they were talking about being able to play a ghoul, a super mutant, a bunch of different stuff, but it would have actually made the game too big to be playable on systems back at the time if they had to add in all those options. Looking forward to a remake of Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, there are there are a number of remakes happening right now, some using different engines and trying to upgrade them to more like the Gen 5 consoles and Gen 5 systems. So great to see it. I'm excited for that, but honestly, I've like I said, I mentioned it earlier, I'm playing New Vegas on my souped up PC here at home, and I'm perfectly content. Although I do notice that when I switch from playing on PlayStation to playing on my PC, the game crashed a lot more.
Really?
So I was like, oh, okay, thought I'd lost all my save progress at one point because the game had stalled, and thankfully it had backed up mere moments before because I had just moved areas, but I hit a quick save and then it locked up during the quick save, and then I was like, where'd my file go? It was no good. Kind of scared the hell out of me. But you ever do one of those things where you choose one of those dialogue options that you're like, oh, that was the wrong thing, and then you just wind up shooting the guy in the face and then reloading because reasons. Yeah,
Fallout most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So because when you choose the wrong dialogue option, that is the natural response, is to shoot the guy in the face. So,
of course. Mass Effect is the perfect example of that as well. It's like, well, now my entire game has changed, and Fallout does the same thing. It's perfect.
Yep. And as soon as I'm done with New Vegas, I think I'm going to go back to Baldur's Gate 3 for a little bit. Also a game that has tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of mods. So,
I just jumped in that one, but it's supposed to be. Did it won Game of the Year, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it won a whole bunch of stuff. It won all the things, and well-deservedly so, because, what I like the fact is that it bucked all the trends of major video games last year, and was rightfully acknowledged for all of it. It's like, don't need to always be online. Single player is fine. Like all these things that have gotten away. So, it is fun playing with the reputation system in Fallout 4. Gig wise, yeah, I agree. I was always shocked when after I finished what was the one where you're fighting the suit, where you pretend to be the Silver Shroud or whoever, and you're fighting the Mechanist.
The Mechanist. I love that robot suit you get at the end too. It's
the Machinist. No, the Mechanist. Yeah, the Mechanist. First off, that fight against the Mechanist sucked. Like, I used everything I had and then some to win, but the armor is pretty dope. So the rewards were worth it. But now, like any of the robot characters, even Cogsworth doesn't want to talk to me anymore. So I'm like, oh damn,
Sorry, Cods. Sorry, Matt Berry.
Yeah,
Matt Berry.
Yeah. Awesome. Alrighty. Well, hey, I think we got to start wrapping it up here because I actually do have to get down to work today. But yeah, so when you're playing your video games this weekend, crack open a cold Nuka-Cola, put your feet up, and maybe take your vanilla edition of whatever version of Fallout you're playing and spice it up a little bit with something unique from the community contributions. Give it a shot. Let us know how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Chicken guns and cheese shouts.
Chicken guns and cheese shouts. I love it. Yippee-ki-yay. All righty, folks. Well, hey, hope you have a great couple of weeks. We'll see you back here in about 2 weeks. And until then, stay frosty.
Yep. And in about 15 minutes, come check out the Colin Cunningham interview as well.
Absolutely.
He loved your questions too, so that's going to be really fun.
Good. I'm glad that I was like I got to stay on brand. That's all I'm going to say about my questions, but I got to stay on brand. So yeah.
It was the perfect time for it too, because it was a long interview, 2 hours long, and by the end I was like, all right, well, we got a couple sidetrack questions to ask, and he's like, okay, let's do them real quick, and they were perfect because the first one was a Google question, or I think the second.
Good. I hope I gave him a little laugh. So
He loved it.
Awesome. All righty, guys. Well, hey, we'll see y'all soon, and until then, take care.
See y'all.